What's going on, folks out there? I'm Amos Morale III, and I'm joined by UFC light heavyweight Daniel Cormier, Lafayette native. Now, Daniel, you're going to be fighting here in a couple months?
Yeah, June 6th.
All right. Tickets go on sale for that event tomorrow.
Yeah.
Just talk to me a little bit about it. I know you got to be excited to be fighting in front of the hometown crowd.
Yeah, you know what, man? Obviously I took some time off after the last fight. You know, it was a very grueling fight mentally and physically. Asked the UFC to fight on Fox Sports 1. They gave it to me. I asked them to fight at home. They gave it to me. You know, I asked them for a 5-round main event. They gave it to me. So it's everything that I could have hoped for, with my hopes of actually getting back to another championship fight. So the idea of fighting in Louisiana, the idea of fighting in a main event, being the guy that the UFC is trusting to come back to New Orleans to get people into the arena, to make the interest level raise here in New Orleans, in the state of Louisiana, it's a great thing. It shows a lot of faith in me that the organization has.
All right. Now, obviously, you are one of the faces of the organization in terms of popularity. I know your last fight, from what they've reported, was one of the biggest in the history of the organization.
Yeah.
So just talk to me a little bit about that. You know, you're coming here. It is a smaller, market, but at the same time, you know, it's one where you're very familiar with.
Yeah.
And you're fighting a big-time guy.
Yeah. You know what? It's number 3 versus number 5. I'm number 3 in the rankings. Bader's number 5. It's a big deal. It has real significance in the division. You know, this isn't a throwaway fight. This isn't just two guys fighting for no reason. This is a fight where the winner of this fight could potentially fight for the championship. So it's a big deal. They've given New Orleans a big fight card. And as you said, it's a smaller market, but it's a passionate fight market. If you watch some of the local shows, they put a lot of people into these arenas because they have a lot of guys from the area fighting. Last time the UFC was here, I think they kind of missed the boat in that sense. They didn't put enough Louisiana guys or local guys on the card, and it showed in the attendance. Now this one has a lot of Louisiana guys on there, and obviously myself, who is probably the biggest name guy from the state, headlining the card.
All right. Now talk to me a little bit about the card. You mentioned the Louisiana guys. I know we talked when the event was announced.
Yeah.
You said you wanted to get as many of those guys on there, and they pretty much got them all.
Yeah,
so just talk to me a little bit about some of those guys.
Well, you know, you got myself. Dustin Poirier's on the card. He just fought last weekend, knocked this guy out in 4 minutes. Now he's back, but not only is he back, he's fighting Yancy Medeiros, who's an unbelievable fighter. This is going to be a barn burner fight to either start off the card or a little later in the card. Sean Jordan is on the card. Guy played fullback at LSU. Another guy wanted to try to get on the card. They had Alan Joban on the card. He was born in Lafayette, was begging to fight in Louisiana. Not sure if he's going to be able to fight because of an injury, but they put every guy in the UFC that is from Louisiana on the fight card. So you come out and you support your local guys, and if we do that, then the UFC will start to come back over and over and over again, and they won't need a guy like Dustin or myself. They'll just need the UFC. People will just want to go and watch, because once we get them into the arena, they'll be hooked, because it's such a rush to actually be in there live. You don't want to not have that anymore once you've experienced it.
All right. And then they also added some other big-time fights with Ben Rothwell and Dan Henderson's also on the card. So
yeah, and again, you know, it's like it's a fight night, but it's a free show. But they didn't give you a free show where it was like a big main event and then nobody else on the card. Me and Bader, 3 and 5 in the division. Light co-main event, Dan Henderson versus Tim Boach, 2 longtime studs. Ben Rothwell versus Matt Mitrione, who's season 10 of The Ultimate Fighter. Dustin versus Yancy Medeiros. Sean Jordan, you know, like I said, there's a number of guys all the way up the lineup. This is a really, really good card, especially for a fight night. You know, the UFC has really stacked the card in their return to New Orleans, because they want to get people into the arena to watch. Because once you've seen the product, like you said, you came in January. Was that your first one?
Yes, that was.
So that was your first one. You don't want to miss it anymore. If there's one here, you don't want to miss the opportunity to cover it. So it's about actually getting people in the door. Once we get people in the door, we believe we can actually keep you coming back.
All right. So you definitely are giving us some guys that are going to be throwing some punches, maybe getting some knockouts. So we should be getting a lot of finishes.
Oh yeah, I think there'll be a lot of finishes, because not only will the guys the guys always want to fight well, but for me, coming back home, fighting, I want to try to go out and finish Ryan Bader. I want to knock him out. Dustin will try to knock out Yancy. Sean Jordan and Derek Lewis, they took each other out in Lafayette when they fought a couple years ago. Mitrione and Rothwell is not going to decision. And Dan Henderson Boach, that's not going to decision. Somebody's getting knocked out. So not only will you get big name fights, you're going to get a lot of finishes, I believe.
All right. Now, lastly, let me sidetrack this for a little bit. I know the UFC recently hired a guy to come in and kind of, I guess, help with the drug testing. Yeah.
Well, the UFC brought in, I can't remember his name right now. It's passing me, but he was the head of the investigation in the Balco steroid case. So they're bringing in the big wigs to try and help fight performance-enhancing drugs. The UFC has always been the leader in drug testing, the leader in fight promotion, the leader in television rights. They've always led the charge in mixed martial arts, and they're doing the same thing in terms of the performance-enhancing drugs. So yeah, this guy's going to come in and help to teach the UFC and lay out a guideline on how to fight performance-enhancing drugs. Also, the UFC had taken steps before hiring this guy to try and ensure that guys aren't cheating anymore. At UFC 184, every single person on the fight card was tested, but not only urine, blood tested too, from top to bottom. Very first fight all the way to the end. Ryan Bader and I, we're in New Orleans right now. We're not at home, but we could be randomly drug tested at any point from here until the fight camp. We don't know when they're coming. Before, they can randomly drug test you. So they're doing things and they're trying to put procedures and put a guideline to follow to make sure that guys aren't cheating.
Okay. Now, one of the questions I wanted to ask you, it seems like a lot of guys do get injured in training, and I know that was one of the things with like baseball that they mentioned that a lot of the guys were using the various drugs was more for healing than performance enhancing. Do you think that was part of the problem with some of the guys maybe?
You know what, man? I think in Anderson Silva's case, he may have been trying to do something to help come back from that gruesome injury, the leg injury. By no means am I making any excuses for him. You know, he was caught cheating. He did something wrong. But I don't think it's necessarily all people's intention. I think guys are just trying to cheat. They're trying to get ahead of the game, and now they're getting caught. I truly believe now that if you're cheating in the UFC, you're going to get caught. Before, it was almost like cat and mouse. They know when they were going to get tested. They knew, you know, you had to go and pee in a cup at the end of the fight, maybe, or you could just go home. Now, if you're cheating, you're going to get caught. So, the injuries, though, I think it's just part of training. I don't know if there's anything you can do to actually stop them. You know, the champions are so good that you have to train hard to try and beat them, and the challengers are the same way. So, it's something that's going to be hard to stop.
All right. Well, I hope you, that's about all I got for you. So
yeah, that's fine.
I hope you enjoy your time in New Orleans, however long you're here. And, you know, good luck with the training, obviously.
Thank you.
And anything you want to tell the folks about?
I just want to say, guys, get out to the arena. Let's fill this place up and let's scream loud and show the UFC that New Orleans and the state of Louisiana deserves to have these big events. Last time wasn't the best attendance. This time, let's blow it out of the water. Let's fill this thing up and let's make it sound like the Superdome when the Saints play, or let's make it sound like when the Pelicans play. You know, let's be loud. Let's have a good time and let's have some fun.
All right. Well, there you have it, folks. For Daniel Cormier, I'm Amos Brown III. Thanks for watching.